Today we'll be talking about public expenditure, students. What is public expenditure? Public expenditure refers to government expenditure, that is, government spending. It is incurred by central, state, and local governments of a country. Public expenditure can be defined as the expenditure incurred by public authorities like central, state, and local governments to satisfy the collective social wants of the people. Adam Smith has concentrated only on the passive role of government, under which a government can support the smooth flow of economics with least interference in economic activities. The government must look after expenditure on defense to protect citizens from external aggression. Secondly, expenditure on internal law and order so as to bring about peaceful functioning of economic activities. Third, expenditure of government on administrative activities for bringing about coordinating of different economic activities to achieve economic and social welfare. Fourthly, expenditure on certain amounts of infrastructure development to help the economy grow. What are the macroeconomic objectives of public expenditure? Macroeconomic objectives of public expenditure refers to expenses, federal or state, incurred by the government for provision of various public spending and services to the people, example, education, health, and security. Promoting the welfare of a well-being of the people, maintenance of the government defense forces, public civil servants, etc. Maintaining the economic stability and reducing inequality of income, and for reallocation of resources. Coming to the canons or principles of public expenditure, certain canons or principles have been defined by economists for public expenditure. The first principle is called the principle of maximum social benefit. According to Dalton, the best system of public finance is that which secures the maximum social advantage from the operations which it conducts. The attainment of maximum social advantage requires that, first, both public expenditure and taxation should be carried out up to certain limits and no more. Secondly, public expenditure should be so utilized among the various uses in an optimal manner. Third, the different sources of taxation should so have tapped that the aggregate sacrifice entailed is minimum. The second canon of public expenditure is the principle of economy. It means that extravagance and wastage of all types should be avoided. Public expenditure has certain potentiality for public goods, but it may also prove injurious and wasteful. If the revenue collected from the taxpayer is heedlessly spent, it would be obviously uneconomical. To satisfy the canon of economy, it will be necessary to avoid all duplication of expenditure and overlapping of authorities. Further, public expenditure should not adversely affect saving. In case government activity is damaged, the individual's will or power to save, it would be repugnant to the canon of economy. Third, canon of sanction. Another important principle of public expenditure is that before it is actually incurred, it should be sanctioned by a central authority. Unauthorized spending is bound to lead to extravagance and overspending. It also means that the amount must be spent on the purpose for which it was sanctioned. Allied to the canon of sanction, there is another, that is auditing. A postmodern examination is equally important. That is, all the public account at the end of the year should be properly audited to see that the amounts have not been misappropriated or misspent. Next is the principle of balanced budget. Every government must try to keep its budget well balanced. There should be neither ever recurring surpluses nor deficits in the budget. Ever recurring surpluses are not desired because it shows that the people are unnecessarily heavily taxed. If expenditure exceeds revenue every year, then that too is not a healthy sign because this is considered to be a sign of financial weakness of the economy. The government therefore must try to live within its own means. Fifth is the canon of elasticity. Another principle of public expenditure is that it should be fairly elastic. It should be possible for public authorities to vary the expenditure according to the needs. A rigid level of expenditure may prove a source of trouble and embarrassment in bad times. Alteration in the upward direction is not difficult, but elasticity is needed most in the downward direction. It is not so easy to cut down the expenditure. When the economy acts as applied, it is a very painful process. Retrenchment of a widespread character creates social discontent. Perfect elasticity is out of question, but a fair degree of elasticity is essential if financial breakdown is to be avoided at the time of shrinking revenue. Last is the avoidance of unhealthy effects on production or distribution. It is also necessary to see that the public expenditure exercises a healthy influence both on production and distribution of wealth in a community. It should stimulate productive activity so that the volume of production in the country increases and it may be possible to raise the standard of living. But this objective of raising the standard of living of the masses will be served only if wealth is fairly distributed. If the newly created wealth goes to enrich the already rich, the purpose is not served. Public expenditure should aim at toning down the inequalities of wealth distribution. These two objectives may be in conflict when attempts at reducing inequality of income and wealth distribution adversely affect production. Thus, it cannot do by adversely affecting first the power to work and save, and second, the will to work and save. Public expenditure can also benefit production through diversion of resources from less productive to more productive occupations.